Hi.
Hi.
Hi, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Hi. You look great. Oh my God, I love your dress. It's just I remember the photos.
Do you like my dress?
Yeah, I love it. I love your earrings.
2 years.
God, you've done a good job hiding it.
Trying not to show you. Here, see the back?
I like it. You look great.
I think that your grandma will love
You're
it.
so beautiful. She'll be fine.
Okay, here, let me throw this back.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
I guess.
Oh, I don't know if we were supposed to do
I
that.
don't care. Q. You are my closest companion, my partner in life, and my best friend. I will give you all of my love, my care, and my cuddles for as long as I live. I promise to be there for you in your times of need and to support you in any way I can. Through moments of both difficulty and joy, I've had to understand and grow with you for eternity. As we continue to share our lives together, I promise I will be patient before restless and caring before selfish. I will give you everything that I am. I promise to give you everything that I can. I have loved you from the moment I met you, and I will love you until the moment I see you. You are my soulmate, and I love you.
That was so sweet.
I love you.
This past year, I have succeeded and failed in many ways. Whew, this is gonna be hard. And regardless of the outcome, you have provided endless confidence in me, even when I had little in myself. I admire your protection, loyalty to the lucky people you allow into your life, your sense of calm and confidence. Maxwell Jordan Carroll, I love you unconditionally and without hesitation. I vow to love you, encourage you, trust you, and respect you. I promise to work with you to foster a relationship of equality, knowing that together we will build a life far better than either of us could have imagined alone. Today I choose you to be my husband. I accept you as you are, and I offer myself in return. I will care for you, stand beside you, and share with you all of life's adversities and joys from this day forward and all the days of my life. I got through it.
Can I kiss you again or what?
Please be seated. Family and friends, we are gathered here on this beautiful day to celebrate one of life's greatest moments, to give recognition to the work and the beauty of love, and to cherish the words which shall unite Max and Quincey in marriage. They would like to thank you for being here with them today. Each of you has played an important role in their lives and holds a special place in their thoughts and hearts. It is appropriate and meaningful that they call upon you today to take part in celebrating this important event. As friends and family, we all share memories of good times, growing times, laughing times, and learning times. Today as well is a day full of beautiful new memories for all of us, but especially for Max and Quincey. Thank you for surrounding this couple in love and offering them the joy of your friendship and for being here to share this day with them. Marriage is in itself a blessing, but doubly blessed is the couple who comes to the marriage altar with the approval and love of their families and friends. Who has the honor of presenting this woman to this man?
Her mother and I.
Marriage is the promise of hope between two people who love each other sincerely, who honor each other as individuals, and who wish to unite their lives and share the future together. In this ceremony, Max and Quincey will dedicate themselves to the happiness and well-being of each other in the new life they will begin today. It is a distinct honor to be here before you to celebrate the bringing together of two individuals that I can honestly say are two of my favorite people. My relationship with Max began at age 3 when a less politically correct version of myself called him out for wearing a yellow shirt the first week of preschool. I confidently proclaimed, "Yellow is a girl color." My worldview and gender color scheme has since broadened, as has our friendship. In our 24 years knowing each other, he's always been an example of genuine friendship. I thank you for that. I also thank you for your friendship as well, Quincey. Quincey and I met sometime later. In middle school, I knew of her as Skylar's younger sister. We spent many a weekend at Jay and Rhonda's house, and over the years, we got to know each other more and more. Eventually, we would go to KU together, and we actually had a psychology class with Skylar as well, and we'd spend many a late night at Institute's library cramming before an exam. And every time that time in our lives is brought up, she never lets me forget the moment that I brought broccoli to a study session in the library. And this wasn't like raw broccoli, it was cooked, reheated broccoli, which I had never done before and will never do again. If you've ever had the displeasure of smelling that, not the best scent, and it travels great distances, and in effect cleared out half the library. People were walking by like judging me and my hygiene and my life choices. It wasn't a big deal, but over the last several years, like I'd said, Max and Quincey and many of the people you see up here really became great friends under the roof of Jay and Rhonda's loving home. And flash forward sometime later, it was evident that Max and Quincey had an immediate bond. And it was something that they kept to themselves kind of privately because Max doesn't want to tell his best friend Skylar that I have the hots for your younger sister. And Quincey didn't want to tell Skylar the same thing about one of his best friends, so that was something that they had kept to themselves, but it was obvious. It was so evident that they had a chemistry. And first it started out with simple things. They would be sitting on a couch, we'd all be watching a movie. Some of us would go down to the basement to play pool. They would just kind of linger for a moment, share a couple words. Those moments, a moment or two, turned into a moment or three, a moment or four. We could tell that there was something definitely growing between them. And when I asked them individually kind of about that time and what their experience was like. And Max had told me privately that, I was always trying to find a way to get to talk to Quincey. I would come up with something to mention while I was at the house hanging out with Skylar. I would find some way to text her to bring up some subject that maybe might get us talking. And so he was very persistent. And I asked Quincey the same thing about that time in their lives. She said, I was avoiding him like the plague. It wasn't because she didn't have that chemistry. She felt that bond, but wasn't sure how to approach that situation with so many mutual friends and family members. But then sometime later after that, we were all hanging around. I can't remember the specifics of the encounter or what Skylar had said, but in effect it came down to, for most of my friends, wouldn't like my friends to hit on or date Quincey. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with that, but Max is okay. And so, without knowing, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, he kind of gave the green light for that to materialize. And over the years of being a couple and growing in love, we now find you here today to become one in marriage. Max and Quincey share a complementary relationship that I think really forms the foundation of their bond. Quincey has a palpable zest for life. Your optimism fills up a room. And you're a dreamer, and that allows you to reach for the stars and dream big. And you also have a spontaneity about you that keeps life interesting, keeps people on their toes. And Max, on the other hand, Max is steady.
Very nice of you.
Steady, unshakable, consistent. He provides an ever-present grounded quality that puts everyone around him at ease. That genuine nature and relaxed charisma makes you a very approachable person. And it's that back and forth of spontaneity and groundedness, imaginative, grounded, steady, that makes these two halves whole. Marriage is, after all, about bringing together two people and a walking stick together with different strengths as one united whole. Now, it's customary for the officiant to offer words and sentiments to the bride and groom. In my own reflection before this day, my thoughts settled on a singular quote, and thinking that no wedding ceremony we write without the words of Lord of the Rings author J.R.R. Tolkien. I thought it appropriate to share with you today. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. Though in these writings the context of the poem is not necessarily towards matrimony, I think we can glean some universal principles here that transcend storytelling and really apply to the life that you're about to lead together. The first line, all that is gold does not glitter. In many cases, the merit of something that has true worth often has little to do with its outward appearance or flashy exterior or how good it may look on social media. I would say to try not to put stake in the sometimes unrealistic expectation of what marriage may appear like based on the highlight reel of internet sensations. Though grand romantic gestures play a very important role with the right intent in mind, they do not build the strong foundation of a marriage. Marriage is not solely built on bouquets of roses every week. It's not built on surprise weekend trips to a lake house. Sorry, Quincey. It's not built on diamond earrings for your birthday. It's not built on a beautifully crafted Facebook post with a sepia tone photo and 1,000 likes. Those are all great things, but rather marriage is built on the small, simple gestures that you would never find online. Marriage is built on waking up 5 minutes early to get coffee started in the morning. It's built on running to the grocery store because a cookie recipe calls for 2 more eggs. Marriage is built on letting your arm fall asleep under your spouse's shoulder instead of moving and waking them up in the process. Marriage is about kissing your spouse goodnight after a long argument. Marriage is built on, what can I do to help? Not, I told you so. Marriage is built on, we'll get through this. You'll find more fulfillment in that sort of life. The small, selfless acts that go unrecognized by the world, but will add up and mean the world to your spouse. The second line of the poem, not all those who wander are lost. To be lost is to have a fixed destination and be unable to find it. In wandering, however, it's the journey itself that's what's important. It's not the destination. You may set goals for your marriage or make long-term plans of grandeur 10, 20, 30 years down the road. But few and far between are those long-distance goals that turn out exactly as you had envisioned them. And that's the beauty of sharing your life with someone else. Don't resent it, embrace it. Stay flexible in your paths, wander the trails of the unknown, forge your own course together, knowing that the journey itself is the true destination. To some around you, your walk in life may seem unconventional, but never sacrifice the freedom and integrity to self that wandering together provides. The third line, the old that is strong does not wither. Time changes all things, and with the passing years, many things in life fade. And in your journey, wandering life together, look to the wisdom of those who remain strong and have strengthened over time if you ever do find yourself lost. As you start your new family together, remember that marriage has never just been about two solitary people. It implicates the joining together of two families. When life has you both stumped, remember that you have great examples and a great support system in your parents and the family members who you hold most dear. Tolkien has left us with one final sentiment. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. This notion is pretty universal and shows up in lots of different cultures. A plant that is frequently watered grows shallow roots. It may look green and healthy on the outside, but will not produce as much fruit as a plant with deep roots, which can only be grown through times of drought and strife. In life and in marriage, your love will not only need the fun and wonderful feelings of romance, affection, and passion. A truly great love is formed through the dry spells and the challenges, which work to build deep roots. It forges a strong bond. It forges the unshakable identity that you two will create as a couple. So don't fear the hard times or the seasons of uncertainty. Expect them, and as best you can, approach it with a glad heart. For if your marriage grows deep roots, it will be strong and not wither. It will not be lost, and its luster will not be that of a superficial glitter, but the true glow of two souls illuminated by an eternal love. We have come to the point in the ceremony where you, Max and Quincey, are going to vow yourselves to one another and share rings, which hold in them a promise. But before you do, I ask that you remember that love, which is rooted in faith, trust, and acceptance, will be the foundation of an abiding and deepening relationship. No other ties are more tender, no other vows more sacred than those you now make. Now I ask that you now look into each other's eyes and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you've been acquaintances, friends, companions, confidants. You have grown in love and together have experienced a period in your lives that throughout time has been described in countless sonnets, plays, and songs. Yet for you, the strongest and sweetest of songs yet remain to be sung. Shortly, you will say a few words that will take you across a new threshold of life, opening the door to a new journey together. Now, Skylar and Cassie can have the rings. These rings are to serve as a physical reminder of the feelings that you have in your hearts at this very moment. They're a symbol of the promise that you have made to share in a long and lasting love. As you look to your hand over the years, it will speak softly of the great gift you've been given in one another. It will also be a reminder of your vow to grow with one another. That you have someone to face the challenges of life with. Never again do you walk alone, for your love shall be with you. You can take your hand. Max, do you take Quincey to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do you vow to love her and care for her from this day forward? Do you accept her with all of her faults and all of her strengths, and offer yourself to her with all of your own faults and strengths? Will you promise to help her when she needs help and go to her when you need help? Do you promise to be faithful and loving companion and put the vows you make today above all else?
Yes, I do.
Would you please place a ring on the end of her finger? And Max, please repeat after me. I, Max, choose you, Quincey,
I, Max, choose you, Quincey,
to be no other than yourself,
to be no other than yourself,
loving what I know of you,
loving what I know of you,
trusting what things I will discover.
trusting what things I will discover.
I will respect you as a partner
I will respect you as a partner
and as an equal.
and as an equal.
All that I am, I give to you.
All that I am, I give to you.
All that I have, I share with you.
All that I have, I share with you.
Whatever the future holds,
Whatever the future holds,
I will love you and stand by you,
I will love you and stand by you,
as long as we both shall live.
as long as we both shall live.
You can place the ring on her finger. A little bit of spice on it. Now, Quincey, do you take Max to be your lawfully wedded husband? Do you vow to love him and care for him from this day forward? Do you accept him with all of his faults and all of his strengths, and offer yourself to him with all of your own faults and strengths? Will you promise to help him when he needs help, and go to him when you need help? Do you promise to be a faithful and loving companion in the vows you make today above all else?
I do.
You can place the ring on the end of his finger. And Quincey, repeat after me. I, Quincey, choose you, Max,
I, Quincey, choose you, Max,
to be no other than yourself,
to be no other than yourself,
loving what I know of you,
loving what I know of you,
trusting what things I will discover.
trusting with things that I will discover.
I will respect you as a partner
I will respect you as a partner
and as an equal.
and as an equal.
All that I am, I give to you.
All that I am, I give to you.
All that I have, I share with you.
All that I have, I share with you.
Whatever the future holds,
Whatever the future holds,
I will love you and stand by you,
I will love you and stand by you,
as long as we both shall live.
as long as we both shall live.
Place the ring on his finger. With that, you two are now eternally bonded. Let all who are witnesses here today rejoice in this new unity. By the power vested in me by the United Life Church of the state of Kansas, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Hello, we are the extremely proud parents of Quincey Carroll. So, 2 years ago when Max proposed to Quincy, 2 years to the month, the first thing I'm thinking is, yay, party, because y'all know how I love to give a party. But they said, we only want the people who are really important in our lives to be here. They want it to be small and intimate. So welcome all of you important people. Yeah, we went to great lengths to make this evening spectacular, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we plan to. So with that, let the festivities begin.
So I'm Jay Adams, Quincy Adams' father. Quincy Carroll's father. It's going to be hard to get used to. So I hope that everyone enjoyed the food, or is still enjoying the food probably. It's from Tailor Made Catering in Lenexa. They do a great job. I said I would give that plug, okay? So this is an important day for me. As I resuscitate my bank account and hand over Quincy's spending habits to someone else, it's such a great feeling of relief. The good thing about weddings is that as father of the bride, you can show everyone how generous you are. I wanted to give you all an itemized bill so that you could see for yourselves the extent of my generosity. But Rhonda said that that's not appropriate. So, marriage is an important commitment, so much so that you would need a mortgage to pay for it. But it takes more than that. It takes patience and compromise. And I should know, I've been patiently compromising for years. So, Max started coming over to our house during his college years, as he's the same age as my son, Skylar, the best man. They hung out together and they became good friends. But there was something about Max that I noticed seemed to change whenever Quincy came around, or when she came into the same room. And I realized that it wasn't that he was thinking about what he and Skylar were going to do next as an adventure. I realized that he had an interest in Quincy. So I believe it took a little while, but it seemed inevitable. They started dating, headed off, and here we are. Right? So I will say, as most fathers, or some fathers may do, they may try to mess around with the boyfriend's head a bit. As it was when Rhonda and I were dating, I once brought her home to find her father cleaning his shotgun. And he had not been shooting. I dropped his little girl off that day and didn't stay. I'm going to say that the few incidents that I injured Max were not totally on purpose. In fact, I'd call them accidents. The first was my wonderful decision to ask Max and Skylar to paint my house one summer. College kids need money, and they didn't realize what they're in for, so it worked out really well for me. But in the process, I was helping a bit and pushed up a 40-foot extension ladder to its maximum height. What none of us realized was there was an attachment at the top to hold paint that I pushed all the way up and off. About 34 feet later, this somewhat heavy attachment landed directly on top of Max's head. As any good man would do, though, after buckling to his knees and we were searching his head for cuts and bumps, he stood up and said he was just fine. I'm guessing he got a very sore spot at the least. Sorry, Max. And then there was the boating incident. He and Quincy were tubing together. As anyone that's ever been a boat driver knows, when pulling people tubing behind you, it's the primary responsibility of the driver to whip them around so hard that they fall off in the most fantastic way and eat it. Well, I'll just say I succeeded at that task. I genuinely did feel bad, though, that Max got hurt his lower back pretty badly, and it impacted his javelin season, which later on he thanked me for some reason. The good news was that he still got to feed his enormous appetite at the training table. You're welcome, Max. To my daughter, Quincey, as I've called her my little pooter pie for years, as I look at this beautiful woman before me in her lovely wedding gown, I can't help but reflect on the girl she was and the woman she has become. She became Daddy's girl on the day she was born and has brought joy to her mother and I. Always brought joy to her mother and I. Maybe except for some parts of 8th grade. But while not every day has been perfect, the love I feel for her has been. Seriously, I've looked forward to this day for years. Quincey makes a stunning bride. Max is a wonderful man, and I wish them every happiness for the future. If they're even half as happy as my wife and I, they will be very happy indeed. However, I would recommend that you never consider working in the same business together. Max, you've been a part of our family for a while now. It's been at least ever since I taught you how to brew your first batch of beer. And he has far surpassed me. But this makes it official now. Everyone, please grab a glass and raise it in honor of Max and Quincey, the bride and groom, on their special day. We all wish you two every happiness in your lives together. To Max and Quincey.
He's saving money. He wants to buy a house. And so I said, no problem at all. We didn't see him a lot. Great kid, in and out early, came in late. But he kept getting later and later. And he would just tell his mom, well, I'm going over to Skylar's. As you know me, I ask a little more questions. So what are you doing at 2 o'clock in the morning over at Skylar's? And he'd go, nothing, Dad. Skylar and I were playing games and doing the thing that we normally do. It's kind of unique that he doesn't say a lot, but every once in a while he'd say, you know, I've been talking to Quincey. Quincey a little bit more, and all of a sudden it was, well, I'm going to go see Quincey. Skylar's out doing his thing. And I kind of realized at that point that there was a connection. Now, Q would come over to the house, and for those of you that know Quincey or Q, you must know Q-land. I knew I was in a different environment when she had her laptop, and she goes, I can't get this to work. And I said, what's the password? And she said, unicorn. So I halfway expect in Q-land, everything works out. For those of you that don't know, she has hit a car. The guy thanked her and said he was so glad to meet her. That was it. I mean, she just sold a car that, I got to be honest, needed probably $1,200 worth of repair. It drove at 30 like this, okay? She sold it for about $5,000. I'm going, oh my God, everything I want to do, I just kind of want to follow behind Q-Land and hope that I pick it up. In all seriousness, I couldn't be happier to welcome Quincey into our family and welcome the Adams to our family. I mean, cheers to Jay and Rhonda for the young ladies they raised. Cheers to them for the event they hosted. I mean, she is a wonderful, wonderful woman. You know, everybody asks, you know, I tell my boys advice. They don't, well, they listen to some. And I guess the advice I would give them, when you're married, it's not about how you handle the happy times. It's how you handle the tough times. And those two balance each other. You know, Sean talked about it. You know, he says, Max is steady, Q's kind of here, okay? And then he said it again, Q's kind of here, and Max is over here, okay? But you need that balance to make it work. Hopefully, 29 years from today, they'll be saying the same thing that I say to my wife. I love you very much. Please raise a glass to Quincey and Max. Congratulations.
I never thought the kid in high school with the diamond stud in his left ear would ever be my brother-in-law. He looked like one of the bad boyfriends the parents hate on the MTV reality show. Even stranger to me was that he asked me to be his best man. I thought, the guy that gives a speech roasting the groom, but covers it up by saying he loves him? And you want the brother of the bride to do it. All right, Max, I'll roast you like a pig. I mean, I love you. I've always looked up to Max, literally. He used to try to say he's 6'4" on the basketball team roster. He's not. But aside from forging a fraudulent height, he seems like such a good guy. He's a sole brewer at Brew Labs. He bought a house, and he married a beautiful woman. I've discovered that his prime motivation in his life is don't get screwed. And I don't like getting screwed, so normally, actually more than normally, I think, what would Max do? And it's worked out pretty well. But there's times that this just doesn't work out for me. Number one, fantasy football. Has maybe the saddest streak of not making the playoffs I've ever seen. I thought this was just like a personal attribute, being bad at watching football. But then his family joined our league, and none of them made the playoffs. Quincey, who drafts their players based on how hot they are, beats him every time. Max, I think you need to start drafting the hot guys early. Number two, extreme sports. Max broke his foot mountain biking at Shawnee Mission Park, and my dad broke his back flipping him off a tube at the lake. Max loves Tony Hawk, but he's as coordinated as Humpty Dumpty. Max, I love you. Just want you to know that. Number three, being brave in the backyard. Max runs from birds, bees, wasps, and strawberries. Quincey told me the neighbors probably think Max is a huge wuss because he is constantly running away from something in the backyard. Whether it's a bird in the garage or a bee under his deck, he can consistently be seen galloping away into the yard. So yeah, I first kind of started hanging out with Max in high school, but we really started getting closer in college. And no one had ever come over and played video games with me for 4 hours straight, so I knew I loved him. Years later, though, I discovered he was trying to poke his head out the door to catch my sister walking by. Which brings me to New Year's Eve 2012. Nearly every week in a fall semester, Max and Marco came up to mine and Chad's apartment, so it was no coincidence we were all together on New Year's. We went to Heather's house, but shortly after, Quincey arrived, and she didn't usually hang out with our group of friends. She greeted Max first, and she had the biggest smile on her face. I knew right then that there was something going on. So I slammed a couple drinks, trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do now. And then slammed a few more. So here I am, pretty drunk early on New Year's, trying to figure out how to approach Max about this. And Max has always been very generous and pleasant with me, so I was really uncomfortable. All I could say was, Max, do you like Quincey? Because if you do, that's okay. The dude about fainted on the floor. You could see the panic just like dripping off of his face. I don't know if I've ever seen him that happy before. It's a very special moment I'm always going to remember. Now, for anyone that's drank with Quincey, you know it only takes one drink before the eyes start to droop. Quincey starts getting sick. Amidst my beautiful drunken debauchery, a flip switched, and I start wondering if Max could handle Quincey's partying. He was sober on New Year's Eve, and Quincey was hitting the porcelain. I decided I better clear things up to her, so I charge into the bathroom. I say, Quincey, you better marry him because he's my best friend. And her head is submerged. Okay. Quincey, thanks for keeping that promise, whether you were aware of it or not. So Max drives us all back to the apartment and we pass out. Or so I thought. Now remember, Markle is part of this story. That kid always seems to slide into everything somehow. So the next morning I wake up to a Snapchat from Markle at like 3 a.m. I don't know if Max even knows this, so I'm pretty excited right now. It's a picture in the pitch dark with the caption, Max and Quincey are making out. Two things I learned from this Snapchat. Number one, Markle was obliterated, completely forgetting I knew about them. And number two, Max really does love Quincey. And if you're asking how I know that, then you weren't paying attention. See, Quincey was throwing up in a toilet just hours before that. And Max still went in for the kiss. Yeah! Sometimes Max won't even take a drink of a beer after someone's to try it, let alone kiss someone post-toilet hugging. He likes to do this like half reach, and he's like, I'm all right. Which roughly translates to, I was going to take that, but then I realized you're disgusting, and will probably get me sick. See, he doesn't like to get screwed. If your 90-pound wife outdrinks you, your name might be Max Carroll. Boom, roasted. Now, I promised some love to follow this up, so here it comes. I love hearing this guy talk because I agree with so much of what he says. I think he's got a great head on his Gumby body, and he's one of the most independent guys I've ever met. I truly admire his grit, tenacity, and compassion. If I'm having a hard time with a decision, he's the first person that I ask for or think to ask for advice. He is a golden god. Today, Max became my brother legally. What he may not know is I've considered him that for a long time. Max, I couldn't be happier that my best friend joined my family. And both of you, I couldn't be more proud of the people you have become. I love you and feel lucky to have you in my life. If everyone could raise their glasses and join me in a drink, celebrating these two kiddos' future, I know it will be great.
Hey everyone, I am Sam. I am not the youngest brother. Ben is. And just to reiterate, and I'd like to say a few words, and if you know me, I obviously have too much to say at all times. But first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out here. I absolutely appreciate it. I know Max and Quincey appreciate it way more than I do, so thank you for coming out here. I like to think I'm calm, cool, and collected, but right now my heart is beating. So I'm going to get to it. Max, I have been looking forward to this speech for a long time because, well, your engagement, long time. And fair. Whether you admit it or not, you probably won't. You won't. You've been an incredible role model in my life, and you will continue to be one. So I'm going to cover a few things, why you're a great brother and why you're a good role model to me. Whew. Woo-hoo-hoo. Growing up, Max, Ben, and I were extremely competitive. If you know us, I still have a competitive issue. So does he. And we are so competitive. Sports, they were a big part of our lives. Every single day, we played sports. We competed, we chatted, we talked sports. We were sports. And because of the way you were in sports, I watched you act, I watched you talk, I watched you interact with coaches, teammates. I learned from you. And it was awesome. It was seriously awesome. And you were an incredible athlete. You were great at basketball, and you threw a stick kind of far. But there were moments where you were not an athlete. And Chad, there was a moment where you hit a basketball with an aluminum bat and nearly knocked himself out because the bat comes right back into his face. I'm proud of you. Secondly, there's another gentleman here, John Tice. You attempted to jump off his back and dunk the basketball, subsequently breaking your wrist. Also proud of you. But on a serious note, the way you handled yourself, your strong sense of character, it has never wavered. You've been the exact same person since I have known you. And that's great. Consistency is awesome, and I respect you for that. You give me the exact same person every day. It's awesome, and I can't thank you enough. Aside from sports, you have the most incredible work ethic I know. You continue to help me become a better person, and your work ethic is incredibly strong. I don't think I'd be here. My personality would not be the same if I didn't learn from you every day. Obviously, a way too serious speech following everybody else, but I love my brother. All right. Also, you have always been one of the more wise and sound people in my life. You're almost 30. I get it. I get it. But seriously, you continually make me strive to be a better person. And Ben can say the same thing. You make us better people, whether you realize it in your childhood or not, or your early life. Even today, you help us daily. And quick shout out to Barney and Leslie for making this wonderful man happen, and us too. Thank you. But really, Max, you've done it the right way. I mean, look at you. You just succeeded in school. You've somehow reeled in a wonderful woman, and you've got it going on. You've got it going on, man. I mean, respect. And I could go on and on with the sentimentals, but that's not you or I, you know? Get straight to the point. What I want to say is thank you. Genuinely, thank you. I don't say it enough, and I just want to say right here, thank you so much. And on a lighter note, Quincy, who the hell would have thought we'd be in here right now? What? What's up? Oh my goodness, I sure didn't. I mean, you're probably sitting there, what the hell is Sam going to say about me right now? Honestly, I had no idea this morning. Like, no idea. But really, you and I trekked the halls of USD 232 with plenty of people over here every day. And Quincy, I can honestly say, you're one of the most hilarious people I know. And your friends can say, it is impossible. Literally, you throw you in a room, it's impossible to not have laughing smiles with you in the room. You are genuinely a funny person. And aside from that, you're genuinely a nice person. I love talking trash. I searched for trash to talk on you. I'm not kidding. I found nothing, so I'm just going to say you're nice. But really, Quincy, you bring sheer optimism into this world, and you bring sheer optimism into Max's life. Max, he's a realist. He keeps it real. You help him keep it happy. You help him. It's so great. I just absolutely love it. And secondly, you two on the same note, oh man, I've been wanting to say this forever. I love this. You know, you never know if I love it. I would have never expressed my opinions if I never gave this speech, but this is awesome. As anyone can see here, you guys have found it. I can see it in a room. I can see it in a conversation. I could be a mile away and look at your guys' eyes. You have found it. And, you know, some people here may not have found it, but you guys are how old? 27, almost 30, 24? It's genuinely, you guys have found it. That's just it. And frankly, you two, you make me happy, and I am so happy that you guys are happy. And I can't wait till I get to coach your kids in basketball. And to that, I'd like to toast Max and Quincy and their bright future together. Cheers. Cheers.
Well, I'm Ben. I'm the baby brother, if you didn't quite catch on yet. And first off, Quincy, thank you. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to stick with this guy because we were a little worried for a little while. I mean, he's something else. So when I found out you actually said yes, I looked around, I was like, she has no clue what she just signed up for. Like, if you know DJ Empire, spitting image of Barney Carroll. But the first time I ever realized how different your personalities were and how well they meshed. So us Carol boys, we were gathered around for Game of Thrones. And in the kitchen, I overhear Quincey talking with my mom about her first pole dancing workout class that she did. And I lost it. I was like, this is so perfect because this is so opposite of Max. And she's going to keep him on his toes just enough to where he's going to stick around. Now, Max, I wanted to get sappy and tell you how much I love you, but I like to think you know that already. And from when Mom cried when she saw the sight of your package of your wedding ring, and Sam this morning, I thought you probably had enough of that. So from back when I was dominating you and Sam in driveway ball, or when Max was literally so scared of mosquitoes, he would not mow the lawn without his mosquito net on. Or the time you might have had a little bit too much to drink the night before a basketball tryout, and you started to back out your car before the garage was completely open, ripping the spoiler fresh off his car, just to face the wrath of Barney Carroll. And one of my favorites, you and Sean stole Sam and I's airsoft guns just to go shoot them off in the Mill Valley parking lot, thinking you're going to avoid the police. Great judgment call, let me tell you. That was one of your best judgment calls you could have possibly had. Or the time where you were begging for the Nintendo GameCube for about 6 months of your life. I asked for it the night before and get it the next day. You go off in one of your temper tantrums following by your trademark quote, "This is a load of crap," just to come ask me to play it about 30 minutes later. Life being the youngest and the favorite is pretty rough. But the times I cherish most were when you were forced to drag me around with your friends, partially because I knew it annoyed the living hell out of you, but largely because I knew I was the coolest kid in town getting to spend time with my big brother. Max, you've always been a larger-than-life figure to me, someone I truly strive to be after, a role model, and somebody I'll forever look up to. Quincey, there truly isn't somebody more perfect to be marrying Max, and I've considered you family for years now. You bring out the best in Max and ultimately keep him at the age of 27. Not 30 just yet. But you keep him at 30, or 27, excuse me. And not the retired 65-year-old man he aspires to be. I love you both, and I'm more than happy to start our Little League sports dynasty here in the near future. So please raise your glass and give a cheers to Max and Quincey. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm the last one, I promise. Okay, I'm going to try to get through this without crying. We've been talking about who's going to cry more today, me or Rhonda. So far, Rhonda's in the lead. Hopefully we can keep it that way. But first, I'd like to thank Rhonda and Jay for throwing an amazing party, and for more importantly, for raising my best friend. Oh God, here it comes. Give her a minute. Okay, Quincey and I have been friends for over 12 years now, and throughout the years, she has become to mean everything to me, and I truly consider her a sister. We've been there for each other through some of the hardest times in our lives, from the days when we bought $80 worth of Pokemon cards on Jay's UA account, to breakups, emotional and mental breakdowns, and a whole lot of hangovers. We've shared a lot of tears, but a lot more laughter, and I would not be the person I am today without her. I am so proud of the person that she has become, the life that she has chosen for herself, passing her boards, becoming an amazing OT, but especially the man that she's chosen to spend the rest of her life with. I've spent way more time at their house than Max probably wishes. But I have really been able to see the love they have for each other and gotten to know Max. Luckily, he passed the test and gained BFF approval a long time ago. One day I saw him at the liquor store after I had a horrible day, which he already knew about because I told Quincey a few hours before. And he came up to me without hesitation and gave me the biggest hug and went on with a big brother speech and told me everything was going to be okay. Anyone that knows Max knows this is not an isolated incident. Quincey is lucky to experience this on a daily basis, and I am fortunate to be a part of both your lives. Max, I'm giving up a lot today. Quincey was the person I was supposed to grow old with. We talked about eloping last night, but here we are, so I don't know what happened. But lucky for you, she chose true love and gave up the single life with me. I have no doubt that she's in capable hands, but you better take care of her because I can't live without her. But you can continue to expect me over to the house for wine and bachelor nights every week. When we were going through some of Quincey's stuff last week, there was a note in her side table that her grandmother had given her, and it was a quote that I just really liked, and it says that love is a friendship that's caught on fire. May your fire stay strong and filled with love and laughter for at least the next 50 years. To the bride and groom,